You are Locked On Mavericks Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Dallas, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well, after two tough losses in Cali, the Mavs returned home for a must-win game, and they won the must-win game tonight over the Hornets. It wasn't the blowout that I thought. I know they've won the Hornets had lost, I should say, the last three games by 131 points. I thought, okay, I'll take 20. But didn't quite work out that way. But the Mavs did get the win by 7, 103-96. And bottom line is you will take that win, period. And so here we go. Welcome into the Mavs Postcast, your team every day, your team every single game in our case. And thank you for watching Locked On Sports Dallas, your destination after every single game. You can also find us on the Locked On Mavs podcast feed. A reminder that tonight's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. So, coming up on our show tonight, as always, we want to hear from you via the comment crew. Please jump in. Come on, man. I mean, after the late game the other night in LA, you guys left me hanging. I mean, I was here by myself. I thought some of you diehards were going to be up and you would jump in and we could kind of talk about the game together so it's not a monologue. But I get it. It was late. It was a weeknight. That's fine. But tonight, kind of an early finish. The game's over. We have time. So please jump in via the comment crew right now. That would be great. But coming up, Kyrie, speaking of great, Kyrie Irving comes through in the clutch again in this one. This is kind of what we've been talking about. And even though the wins haven't been there in every game, and there were a couple of tough losses in California, you're seeing now Kyrie kind of, like we talked about really this entire month, Kyrie becoming the closer. And, you know, they were able to give him a nice break at the end of the third. He didn't come in until about 7.5 minutes to go in the fourth. But after a 7-point first half, Kyrie ends up with 9 in the third quarter, 9 in the fourth quarter, and was a big part and a big reason why the Mavs were able to get this win tonight over the Hornets, 103-96. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the monster game for Moses Brown, who got the start tonight. And boy, it just, you like stories like his. Journeyman player, was with the Mavs 4 years ago, bounced around, humble, grateful, thankful, working hard, trying to stick, trying to make an impact. And it was good to see him. I know the Hornets are the second worst team in the East. I get that, but you know what? The Mavs are banged up, and the Hornets, after 3 really, really bad losses in a brutal road trip, right? I mean, this was it. And they came to play tonight, and they wanted to win. And the Mavs really did what they had to do. Say what you want. Wasn't pretty, wasn't ugly. I mean, it wasn't pretty. It was ugly, but they got the win. And it was really, really nice to see Moses Brown step up the way that he did. It would be great to see him kind of find a little spot here until Daniel Gafford gets back, and hopefully not too much longer for Anthony Davis. And we'll have to see about Derek Lively, but it helps. I mean, his presence, his rebounds, and some of those finishes under the basket were were critical. And I mean, small ball, you can get by with it for stretches and for moments and possessions and quarters. But I mean, if you're going to win, and the Mavs need to win right now, they could use a big, and they could use an effective big that plays well. And I thought Moses really stepped it up tonight, making his first start since the return of the Mavs. So we'll talk about him, and also a very quiet 18 for Klay Thompson, who, even though Kyrie had the big shots down the stretch, his three off that kind of carom, that kind of fumble, or not quite grabbing the possession by Kyrie, that kind of landed to Klay, who just running out of time on the shot clock, launched up the three. I mean, that was good, and that was huge, and that's what they needed. So we're going to get into that as well. But the Bigs takeaway for tonight is this was absolutely a must-win game. You heard it on the broadcasts tonight. This was game number 60 on the schedule for Dallas. 22 left to go now. They returned home. Really, I mean, a brutal loss at Golden State. The emotional loss against Luka and the Lakers in LA, a game that I'm sure the Mavs looked back and thought, man, you know what? We could have had that one. We should have had that one, and we didn't. So you get back home, you're trying to buy time, you're trying to kind of hang and hold on to your spot in the standings, and you had to get this win. I mean, you're playing the second worst team in the East without LaMelo Ball. You got to get this win at home tonight, shorthanded or not. I mean, again, no PJ Washington in this one tonight, just adding to this incredible season of injuries for the Mavericks. I mean, I have never, ever, ever been around a team that has had so many injuries for so long. I mean, you know, everybody kind of gets hit, but to have this amount of players out for so long, really since the middle of December, and now here we are knocking on the door of March, it's unreal. And the fact that they're still in the hunt, they're still in the mix, says a lot about this group, the players, their heart, their fight, Jason Kidd and the coaching staff and what they're doing. But make no mistake, I mean, they had to get this win at home tonight. And again, it wasn't pretty. These are, you know, we always talk about wanting to see teams step up, right, against better opponents when they're underdogs. And I think the Mavs have done a phenomenal job of that for the most part. They've had some games, every team does, where it's a bad night. The good team plays, the better team plays really well. The Mavs have been shorthanded, but tonight, you know, it was just the Hornets hung around. It was a 1-point game after the first quarter, 1-point game at halftime, and then the Mavs finally kind of did what they had to do, and it was back and forth until the Mavs finally pulled away. Not pulled away, but I mean, just did enough. Got a couple of much needed stops when they had to, hit big shots when they needed to, and they were able to grind out and get the win, 103-96. So I think the Bigs takeaway for tonight is just that with some home games coming up here, an opportunity to practice, an opportunity to get some updates on some guys a week from today. This is an opportunity when you got, you know, 2 games coming up with Milwaukee, Memphis next weekend, and Phoenix as well with KD. You want to get wins when you can. You got to get wins when you can. win, win, win. I mean, that's what it's all about. And so when you get an opportunity like this, you got to take advantage and get it done. They did. 103 to 96. It would have been really bad if they would have lost this game, but they didn't. They got the win, and they will take it day tomorrow, I think, to get some more practice, work some more with Moses Brown, try to get the offense going. But nonetheless, it was a much needed win tonight, and we will talk more about some of the numbers and some of the things that stood out, starting with Kyrie and his big game tonight, again, to lead the way. 103 to 96, the final. We want to hear from you via the comment crew, so please jump in. Want to hear from you, get your thoughts on the game. Where is your mind at with 22 left to go? Want to hear from you again via the comment crew. 103 to 96. This is the Mavs Postcast. All right, got to talk to you about what is going on at FanDuel, right? Because they're a big part of the show. And when the game tips off, the NBA action is just getting started, and there is no better place to get in on it than FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Now, with FanDuel, you can place live bets throughout the game. So even if you miss the opening tip-off or you want to bet on a fourth quarter comeback, you can stay in the action. And if you're looking for a bigger payout, you can even combine your live bets into a same game parlay. Now, one of the things that's cool about FanDuel and their live betting feature is it keeps every moment of the game exciting. So whether you're backing your team for a late game run or you're picking a specific player to hit a clutch three, you never feel like you missed your chance. And the app is really easy to use. And when you win, you get paid instantly. Now, right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Now, it's real easy. You just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right. Having one of those nights with the computer, but that's okay. That's all right. Hey, the Mavs got the win, and that's the most important thing. 103 to 96, the final. And again, got to give it up to Kyrie. I'm multitasking here. But Kyrie is the guy now. I mean, he's the one that is going to have to step it up and kind of get things right or pull things out in these critical moments. Ended up tonight again, 25 points in 38 minutes. So Jason Kidd and the staff, they're trying to keep those minutes down just to keep him fresh. I thought it was a good bounce back game for Dante Exum. Remember, he was starting to heat up the other night in LA, took that elbow from LeBron, that forearm from LeBron. That ended his game. But I thought after not starting tonight, what I liked about Dante, I mean, he's always going to push the pace, right? But I liked the fact that when the offense was kind of stagnant and they were kind of scuffling, just settling for some open shots, right? And the Hornets were daring Najee to get going. I like the fact that when they really needed to respond and to answer, Dante knew instinctively just to take it to the basket and to drive. And there were a couple of those that were really critical. So I think if if they can kind of get Dante in a position where he can handle the ball, I mean, I would think between Dante and Spencer Dinwiddie, who, very quietly, it may not feel like he had a big game, but I mean, very quietly ended up with 8 points and in 23 minutes. Between the two of them, I mean, they should be able to handle the ball and kind of run the offense a lot. There was one possession, was it in the third or the fourth? I'm going to say it was in the fourth, and it was after a couple of bad shots. The Hornets had scored 2 straight baskets in transition, and then finally Spencer Dinwiddie ran the offense, and they ended up finding Brown down low, and he was open right under the basket, and they were able to get it to him for an authoritative slam that really shifted the momentum back. And so I think if they can continue to try to get those guys, get Dante Exum going to another level, let Kyrie not have to handle the ball so much. And the other thing too, even away from the offense, is Kyrie just does such a good job defensively. Again, just so much of what he does, you can't teach. I mean, he just does it. He just has it. He just knows it. He just knows how to play guys and where to go, and knows how to read, and it doesn't matter their size or their skill set. I mean, he's just great. So good to see Kyrie though come through again. 9 points in the third quarter, 9 points in the fourth. I think again, you don't want him. He can't do it on his own, but certainly he can lead the way, and certainly he can be the guy that hits those big shots in the clutch and big threes, and also can, I think, try to get the other guys going and try to let them follow, right? So very, very good to see. Again, I like the way that J. Kidd was able to give him a really nice rest going into the fourth quarter. He was out for a good 10, 15 minutes before he finally, I don't mean on the clock, I mean in real time. And he was able to get a good break before he came back in. So that was good. And again, Moses Brown, just what a great story for Moses Brown. Ends up with a double-double, 20 points, 11 rebounds. And I thought Derek Harper made a great comment early in the TV broadcast tonight when he said, you just watch the Mavs on the floor, and when Moses was on the floor, he just looked like he belonged out there. It looked like, he should be a part of it. And I thought he did a really, really good job. 31 minutes, knew where to go. And again, this was his first start, right? And so he knew where to go, knew what position, where to be around the basket, did a great job rebounding, and I mean, looked very comfortable scoring as well. And it was good to see the Mavs. I felt like they kind of went away from, I mean, the guy had, Moses Brown had almost a double-double in the first quarter. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but I mean, he had 7 points and 4 rebounds. So, I mean, he was on his way, and I felt like the Mavs really kind of went away from him late in the second and most of the third before finally kind of getting back to him again, as they should. And so that was good. Good to see that. Kessler Edwards tonight didn't get the start, but good to see him knock down a 3 at one point. Again, any improvement from him is going to be a bonus. I was bummed that PJ Washington was out because, I mean, really, we talk about Kyrie and how important he's going to be here down the stretch, but I think PJ is right, right below. I mean, if the Mavs are going to make any kind of run, we need to get that they need PJ to get back to being, 25 and 10 PJ, right? On a nightly basis. I mean, with some of these games coming up, I mean, they're going to need him to step up and have big games. I mean, he kind of struggled the other night in LA, and the tough thing to his defense is when you get an ankle injury like that, man, these guys, they're jumping around and moving around so much that just takes one little tweak here, one little tweak there, and it's almost like you completely re-injure it again. I mean, it's just that it's like you try to take time off and you try to let it heal, but then all it takes is one bad landing or one tweak, and you're right back where you started from. So I think tonight, going into the game tonight, they thought, okay, we're taking on a really bad Hornets team. They're not going to say that publicly, but clearly they thought that they would be okay if PJ didn't play, and he didn't. He was able to rest, and so hopefully he'll be back this weekend with a huge game at home, fun game at home coming up on Saturday night against the Greek Freak and the Bucks. All right, we're going to take our final timeout. When we come back, though, more on this game. But again, want to hear from you via the comment crew. Please jump in. Want to get your thoughts. Want to hear from you. What do you think about the win? What do you think about where the team is at? Lots of different rumors out there about the offseason, but want to hear from you via the comment crew. Again, the Mavs get the win tonight, 103-96. This is the Mavs Postcast. And I just had that. There we go. Okay. So with Robinhood Gold, okay, you can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on retirement contributions. The privileges of the very privileged are no longer exclusive. With Robinhood Gold, your annual IRA contributions are boosted by 3%. Plus, you also get 4% APY on your cash in non-retirement accounts. That's over 8 times the national savings average. The perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold to receive your 3% boost on annual IRA contributions. Sign up at robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rate subject to change. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold at $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to robinhood.com/boost. Over 8 times national average savings account interest rate claim is based on data from the FDIC as of November 18th, 2024. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC. Okay, final segment here of the Mavs Postcast, 103-96. Again, great to see Kyrie come through in the clutch. Love the game for Moses Brown tonight and all that he did. 20 points and 11 rebounds. Klay Thompson, again, a very quiet 18, ended up with 4 threes, including that big one after the carom from Kyrie in the fourth quarter. That was like pretty much, I think, the dagger at that point. That was a pivotal possession, pivotal spot in the game, and Klay was able to come through and knock that down. Again, had a really good finish the other night in LA, all for naught, but good to see him starting to get going. Same thing, they're going to need him to contribute. I felt really bad for Najee Marshall, who got the start tonight, and I was really excited about that because I thought, okay, they need Najee to get going. They need Najee to be a regular contributor, and I thought, okay, this is Jay Kidd and the coaching staff now saying, okay, we're gonna put him in the starting lineup, and this is going to be the way that we're going to get him going. And he did some other things. I mean, he ended up with nine rebounds, 6 assists. I mean, the Mavs had 12 steals tonight, so that was really good. And they only turned the ball over 7 times. The Hornets turned the ball over 15 times, but Najee just could not get that shot going. I mean, that is going to be, clearly all the great players always are working on their game. They're always doing something in the offseason to get better. And Najee is clearly going to have to kind of work on his shot for sure. Mid-range too. Ended up 1 of 11 from the field tonight, 0 for 6 from beyond the 3-point line. It was tough. I'm a big Najee fan, and again, I really want to see him become a regular contributor, and they're going to need him to contribute and step up here. Tough night tonight, but the good news is the Mavs still got the win. Max Christie, it almost seems like, before the California trip, he was kind of at his peak, and he's not playing bad. I'm not going to get critical here, but he's kind of cooled off a little bit. He might be pressing a little bit, might be trying a little bit too hard. He did get the start tonight, ended up with 8 points. I mean, he's doing other things. He's still playing exceptional on the defensive end of the ball. Ended up with 4 rebounds, 4 assists, had one of the steals, but was 3 of 8. Did knock down 2 threes, but he had that rejection the other night in LA against the Lakers, and I think he's trying to find his spot, trying to defer to some of the other veterans on the team, some of the other guys, and so hopefully, we'll see him kind of get going here during this homestand. And then for the bench, rough night for Omax. I thought he forced a couple of shots that weren't, wasn't his time. I know he's trying to get his game going. Kessler Edwards, as I said, did have that 3, but he went from starting back-to-back games to playing only 5 minutes. Dwight Powell, better. I mean, second game back, 6 points in 16 minutes. Anything positive that he can contribute is a plus at this point. And then we talked about Dante and Jaden Hardy ended up with 3 minutes, did not score. He's really in a funk. Not only, I think, trying too hard maybe right now and pressing, but he's just not, I think it's kind of in his head a little bit, and some of his decision making has not been great. So hopefully with this time here at home during this homestand, I say this all the time, it's hard, really, really hard to practice much during the NBA regular season once it gets going. It really is hard, and that's not an excuse, but it just is what it is. But the Mavs should have an opportunity here to get some work in, to get some practice in, and hopefully, some of these other guys, they can work on some things and try to add some wrinkles to the offense to fit with the players that are available right now. But boy, what a blessing, what a big boost in the arm though, to have Moses Brown step up the way that he did in his first start tonight. I mean, if they can, find a way to tap into that a little bit in the meantime until Daniel Gafford gets back, that would be huge. And of course, it starts with Kyrie and the other guys that we talked about. Hopefully Najee and Dante and Kessler, anything that he can do, they'll get going, and we'll see how this homestand goes. But got the win tonight. That was the most important thing. Had to get that win tonight. They did, 103-96. And the good news is it's been kind of a rough couple of games offensively. Really, I mean, the two games in California were not great, and this one was kind of a grind tonight. So hopefully that means the Mavs will be kind of due to hit some of these shots and kind of get their offense going, and hopefully being at home. Hopefully, a big home game on a Saturday night. I mean, when was the last time the Mavs had a big weekend home game to kind of get everybody fired up? So looking forward to that. I will be with you after the game on Saturday night. Hope you can jump in. Wish we had more time. Jordan jumped in here right before we sign off. Jordan barely won. Agreed. We will fix that shot funk. Absolutely. And Jordan, thanks for getting in before we go. But please, I mean this sincerely, I'll be back with you on Saturday night. Please jump in. Want you guys to be a part of the show. This is not an ego thing for me. I'm not trying to be a star here. Love the game, love the team, and want to be able to interact and let you guys be involved and be a part of the show. All right. And don't forget Nick Angstead and the crew and what they do. They'll be doing their thing in a bit. Also, they'll have the very latest tomorrow and getting ready for the game on Saturday. But our final score tonight, the Mavs get it done. They beat the Hornets 103-96. This has been the Mavs Postcast.